What are some of your hopes and aspirations for the future of our waterways and taiao? Tēnā koutou.
Kia ora, thank you for inviting us, and we're really grateful to participate in a kaupapa like this because we feel it's a really important one. And thank you to Tina for the invite and for Kokapia for organising us and putting it all together. I did do a PowerPoint, and me and the sisters explore on our personal story and how we feel about our dreams for the wai and the whenua, and where we're at, and I guess we're activists for our whānau and things like that. In Rangitukia, it's kind of a mix of what Tina was introducing. It will answer some of those questions for what we would like to see. So, papakainga. Ko kāmiti me hukurangi ngā maunga ko waikaka me waipu ngā awa. Ko rangatira te whenua, ko ohene waipu te marae. Our awa Waikaka has its own utu awa not far off from Waiapu, and we connect quite strongly through that whenua because our upbringing has been rangitukia, and we were born in Upper Hutt, Wellington, but we followed our Nani and Papa Uramu and Nani Josie along their educational movement for kohanga reo and reo Māori, and supported them in that journey from when we were babies. But even when we were in Wellington, they still whakapapa us to those areas, and as well we also linked to those marae, and we spent time in the wai. They always took us out to the whenua and took us exploring and naming the manu. So those are the memories that we have that are still instilled quite deeply for us, and I guess that's part of what we want to see for our babies. But the difference is they're seeing a lot of gorse, and we actually had quite a lot of kiriru and fat ones and falling off, and drunk and heavy with berries, and we just don't see that around Rangitukia, or the amount of birds that we used to see, because you could hear them and you could hear their vibrations. Rangitukia, though, where we are is, for us, it's a model that we can work with. Like it's beyond theory, it's quite experiential, and that was the reason why we joined Tina Nutta's course for water monitoring. So that's the reason why we're here for this kaupapa, and we're just strengthening ourselves in those ways. So I guess as rangatahi, we ask for just the education and the opportunity to be a part of what our kaumātua, our pakeke and our aunties and uncles, what they're passionate about, whether it be hunting or whether it be mamaku, cleansing rongoa. All those things are still quite embedded in us. And working along with our whānau, because we're quite passionate about it, it does take time, and because we're here in some of our whānau in the city, it's sharing that information and keeping connected with our ones in town, or the ones who are working like in the councils. A lot of our whānau are like right in the ministry hub, and they're working in all of those buildings, so it's connecting back with them too. And I guess we have that kind of feeling because we were away from home as babies too. But
my kōrero was about just starting those positive vibrations by doing the talk and creating the actions to fulfill those goals. Supporting your dreams and aspirations. One of my dreams is to see the ngahere thriving, and this encompasses many changes for us. For example, to stop spraying chemicals, reduce the amount of stock on land, and replanting the native trees. And years ago, my dad had been researching pesticides and the adverse effects it has on the land and the waterways and the native trees. And then he talked with his uncle, who was a long-time farmer in the lands around our little plot. And together they decided to stop spraying and go organic. They also involved in bees and the thriving growth in the honey market due to manuka trees has provided access to seedlings that are growing well amongst our whenua. And due to the water monitoring course we do with Tina Nata, we've had access to a few pohutakawa tree, and those are the trees we've noticed growing around our area, just sprouting up by themselves due to the reduce of stock and the spraying and those sorts of things. I mean, they're simple tasks, but they feel big because those are things that our papa had grown up with. The scrub cutting and then spraying the land. You're making that land, preparing it for the farming that they had dreams for back then, and now he wants to go back to looking after the resources of the wai, because we've noticed the waikaka is depleted so much.
Whakapapa and values. So a quote that I took from the Waitaha people, Barry Brailsford, we are the sum of all our ancestors, where our dreams come from. We were brought up with the wisdom that all that lives now has evolved together up to this point and therefore are our kin. Scroll down a bit. Everything has a purpose, a service, a way of caring, including us, and when our purpose is realised, we can begin our journey living in our dreams alongside our ancestors and kin. And I guess that's what motivates us, and that's our greatest inspiration, are our memories of our great-great-grandparents and, of course, all those that come with them. But their wisdom, their aroha, we had Nani Huri Whenua, and our great-great-grandmother, she was a healer and very involved with rongo, and wai was essential, so she would go down to the waikaka and, water from there every day, and also from the moana, which, was healing to bathe in, so she used things in that way. And Nanny Joss always talks about, we never had cakes or sandwiches, and she was quite upset about it, but it was amazing to me because Nanny Huri Whenua would boil her karaka berries for 3 days, and that was their kai for the whole, whatever season that was, or in the different type of preservings that they did. And then Nanny Joss's mum, Nanny Maria, we still feel her presence quite strongly for Marakai, because she was 80 years old and we were planting with her, and she was just smashing us. So the amount that she could plant and the wisdom that she had around that, plus also they didn't buy their seeds, they already had them ready for the next season. So for us it's like Marakai is something that we dream of, but knowing that they were quite connected to the land, they were quite connected to the wai, they had some tohunga wisdom around them, and they still had tohunga around them in those days to refer and go back to. And yeah, it wasn't really the paper and the pen, it was really just being with. And I think that's one big thing, and why we're with the water monitoring crew is like being with the whenua, and it's almost like asking the wai and the whenua and our natives and all the foreign species to what now and what would you like us to do, or what can we help with. So it's also Mum and Dad's connection to the community and how hard they worked. So it's all those memories that come up for us.
Tēnā kōrua, so you can already hear some of those things coming forward around you need to be with your awa, you need to be directly in contact with your awa, but you also need to be with your whānau and with your people. So all of those kinds of things that look to secure our ability to have access for that intergenerational knowledge transfer to occur makes a big impact on our ability to be kaiteki in our fullest sense. I'd like to also invite Malene to come up and just respond to that question also around what are some of your hopes, aspirations, and aspirations for the future. And then we'll be looking to Rākau Nui, and then we'll move on to the next question. Actually, I'll give you some time to set up, Malene. Rākau Nui, would you like to come up and answer the question while Malene sets up?
Kia ora te whānau, ko Rākau Nui au, e uri no konei. My hopes and dreams for the future is to encourage our people, the iwi, in protecting our taiao, and what got me going into protecting our taiao is that ko Katina got me to go to Los Angeles earlier this year, and I was involved in a global youth summit for youth, and what we were looking at was plastic pollution on the ocean, and so that inspired me into going into tiaki tō mātane taiao, protecting our environment, and from then forward I was invited to go to this island called Palau, where it was a 2-week camp with other youth from around the Pacific. Then I was participating in spreading the word about land-sea pollution. Land-sea pollution is pollution that originates off land and eventually ends up making its way out into the ocean. And when I came back home, I was able to work with Kerry Hansen to plant some native trees at our school, and 3 years' time we will eventually sell the trees back to GDC and provide trees for the iwi for our tribe. So I can say my dream is to encourage our iwi and protecting our environment. Kia ora.
Kia ora, I'm Elaine Stevenson from Tiki Tiki, and my aspirations for ourselves is to better the well-being and health of our whenua, our awa, so that it betters our people, and to become more aware of the effects environmental changes are having around the world, but what it has on us. This all came from, for me, when I moved home when I was 8 in 2004, and our whānau whenua in Tiki was covered in gorse and blackberry, and the work that my whānau and I did to clear the land as much as we could so that we could start using it again. It had been 50 years when we moved home since a member of our own whānau had worked our own land. The ways we chose to clear gorse, because when we moved home, it was our thing that we didn't want to put poisons into our whenua again. We knew that the runoff of poisons onto the land went into the rivers, out to the sea. So we decided that we were going to scrub cut all the gorse and blackberry that we could, pile it up, burn it. Or my dad used to go driving through the gorse to make our tracks on old trucks that we would have. Once we started getting it down, my dad was able to rotary hoe over different parts of our top flats on our hill so that it'll help bring out the seeds that were left in the ground. There's gorse seed stays in the ground for 50 years. So we would clear it, rotary hoe over different parts. We would put our natural organic fertiliser that our family or liquid vermicast, wormweeds that our family makes over the rotary hoed part, and it would help keep the gorse and blackberry down, and it would help bring back better grass, better plants that come out of the soil. Also, when we came home, we have big stands of big old native trees on our land. When we came home, there was no grass, nothing growing underneath them. Stock, we're free grazing and just going in under our trees and smashing out anything that would grow. In 2012, our whānau decided we wanted to fence off and protect that stand of trees. In the stand, amongst it as well, is ponds that the water flows down through our land, out past us, around, past behind Rahui Marae, down behind the school where the tiki old rugby field is, to the wetlands down there, then joins up to the Poroporo, goes up to the Waipu. It took a long time before we were able to even get our whānau to agree on the size that we wanted to fence off, about even fencing off the land. It was a lot of hard work for us, but in 2015, we were finally accepted by Ngā Whenua Rahui to have our reserve fenced off. Since then, we've had a few wānanga to replant natives into our reserve, clearing of the fence line to maintain it so that we know that it's not going to get overbarred by gorse and blackberry, then the stock can come through and just bolt it over again. Keeping our reserve fenced off and the stock out since 2015, there has been huge regrowth underneath the natives. There's so much growing back now. And even the plants, like in 2016, Tina and my mum Tina was running a tile course and my mum was on it. And they came and they planted out trees. They're so big now, it's amazing. Yeah.
I'll find examples of the saying think global, act local. This is exactly the kind of mahi and awareness and passion that we need to be seeing in a local place in order to be able to address some of the challenges that we're facing. And so in alignment with those challenges, I'd just like to pose another question to our panel around what do you see as being some of the biggest challenges that will be passed forward to you, that that need to be addressed. So I'd like to invite Juana to come up and have a chat to that.
Yeah, I think in our pathway, but also what Melanie was saying, there's a lot of like hui involved, and we have been around it, just observing what that is like, and even what setting up a trust is like. So just change of mindset as well. I think one big challenge is that our whānau are quite emotionally challenging, I think, and connected to have just different ideas. So it's blending those ideas, but also knowing that if you work as a whānau, you'll get stronger results. So even though it takes time to have those hui, those mind changes are starting to happen, and how the changes are small, they actually grow quite big. Just how Melanie was saying, just in 3 years or so, and then how they moved on to 2016, and it's just getting better and better. I think the mahi part's not too hard, it's just the kōrero, and then overcoming our personal challenges that we have, and sometimes putting them aside and then growing on them as a whānau. Yeah, that's one of the main challenges.
I think one of the main challenges for me is I think to continue the momentum. So I always ask my grandparents about, their aspirations that they want to see in the future, my parents, and and their community involvement and their aspirations, so that I can be a part of that and continue with that momentum. If they sort of get brought down and a bit negative, it kind of leaves me feeling like, well, where am I to go from here? Do I have to start something on my own? So my sister and I have started a small business making our own little manuka pani, and that sort of helps to give me momentum. And it was something that our parents sort of let us move forward with. They had the rights to it in the beginning, and then they gifted that onto us so that we could continue something for ourselves, because they're still learning and growing in their own whakaaro and strengthening their values, and we want to be able to help support them in those notions. So that's a big challenge for me going into the future.
One of the biggest challenges is probably giving a voice for our ngahere, for our natives. In my slides, I'll show you some of the results of our survey that we did with the iwi, and so in the results it shows a lot that don't know much about our natives. So that's probably one of the biggest challenges at the moment, is giving a voice for our natives. Kia ora.
So for me, I reckon one of the biggest challenges we're going to face, our generation, is the one before us taught those away that want to come home for our generation have been taught not to really care so much about our environment and our whenua. And that changing that aspect, that it is important, is going to be hard for some people, especially people that are like so strong-willed. Yeah, they pretty much said everything. It's a great big laugh.
Yeah, changing mindsets, I think we all agree as well. Really awesome that you brought that up actually, Malene, because changing mindsets is the biggest challenge that lies before all of us, and that's recognised at multiple levels, changing the way that we think. And it's going to need some radical change, more than it's going to need incremental change. We're going to have to make some brave changes in the way that we think about and approach land use, economy, relationships, education, a wide range of different issues. So just finally, and I'm going to actually, while they're talking, set up Rako Nui slides as well, just ask a final question around innovation, because I know certainly our rangatahi are more in tune with innovative approaches, and also looking at how to tie innovation into we've always been innovative peoples ourselves, particularly Ngāti Porou, have always been fond of innovation, and so I'd love to hear from our rangatahi panel around what kind of innovation do you feel we could be embracing as we move ahead with some of these challenges. Kei a koe tau, who wants to come up first?
I think just off the top of my head, for me, I want to go back to more of what our ancestors had. So I'm looking at their innovations and I'm just drawing on them, like even how they used harakeke, and we've got so many different types of packaging now, but harakeke was one of our main fibres, and then we were drinking maybe like coffee and tea, but we had our own like plants that we boiled and drank, and it was all rungu and healing. So my innovations is kind of just drawing from them. I don't hard out have a techie side, just find our environment quite inspiring and quite symbolic, and just drawing on those and some of the resources that are available, because there's not many, even like our kawakawa, and what does that leaf need to look like, and inside of it what does that look like, and remembering the names again. So yeah, I'm just going back to the innovations of our ngahere and our wai itself, and looking that as a creation, like they're generators, so they are my innovation, and I want to go back towards there.
I think one thing our grandfather, he has a lot of old drawn maps that were drawn by our old people, so I think it would be good to actually put those onto digital devices so that we can have them for future reference. And because of our land degradation, or even just natural occurrences and changes, how that whenua has actually changed and what that means for the guidelines that may evolve in the future for cultural identification and scientific research. That's it for me.
For me, my whānau is greatly much involved with the Hakurangi projects. My mum is one of the organisers for the Kānaka project, and we as a whānau chose to do that on our whenua and be involved with it because Kānaka is one of the trees that is most prominent on our land. We have maybe like 3 or 4 manuka, and we wanted to be involved and see what we can get, what we can use Kānaka for. That it's so greatly closely related to manuka, it must have properties itself. Another thing we're part of is the cannabis, medical cannabis and hemp trials going on. Our whānau has a licence for growing industrial hemp on top of our hill that covers 500 square metres. Me and my dad are tutors for one of the hemp courses run through EIT, based in Tiki. And it's been something, personally, I've had to really become, what do you say? Well, when I was little, even as a teenager, I did not want anything to do with it, with cannabis at all. My dad would tell me the benefits that came from it, but still, it's illegal, I don't want anything to do with it. Now, my mindset for that has completely changed. I know all the amazing things that come from, that we can do with the plant, and that not only will it help our people, it's a plant that doesn't take huge toll on the whenua. Actually, it gives back. And that is something I'd like to keep pushing heaps.
Do you want to talk about innovations, and or did you want to talk, or you just want to show some of your photos from your? Or do you want to talk about innovation? That. Yeah. Okay, I'm just going to invite our kaunui to just reflect with a few of his images and some of the things that he's been up to as well. And I just want to say, actually, just because we're finishing off innovation, how awesome is it that, just the truth that lies in the fact that not all innovation is good innovation, not all flash new ideas that have come to our people have been beneficial, but the fact that our rangatahi today are talking about perceiving innovation in a way that reflects our tipuna values and who we are as Ngātis and what's going to benefit our whenua and awa, to decide what innovation you pick up and what you don't, is just me harorawa. I just think they're awesome.
Kia ora anō. So in my presentation, I will have 2 slides. So it's all about land sea pollution, what I'm talking about. First off, I'll talk about land. I'm sorry that the first one is in Māori. This is because at my school I learn everything in te reo, so hopefully I can translate it all. The project for this one, Te Rapa Huarahi Kia Toitu Ngā Rākau Māori, is looking for sustainable solutions to grow our native trees and to protect our whenua, our land. And at the beginning of the year, I went for a little school walk up Manutahi just to see what our environment is like and what type of trees grow on the coast, and so that we can make our own little nursery for the tairawhiti. And yes, I guess by looking at what grows around, you can know what you will know what to grow in your nursery. And the value of our native timber is quite high. You see, just that little bit of furniture can cost up to $3,000 to $5,000. And he nui te wari o te rākau nei, o ngā rākau Māori, is heaps of value. That is one of the reasons why they don't grow rākau Māori like pine trees, because pine trees are much cheaper than rākau Māori. So hopefully we can grow a forest of remu or something, and so we can make native timber and get heaps of money out of it. Here are some of the groups that are involved in Te Aki Te Whenua. EIT has a course, it's the sustainability course, starting up next year, I think. And Department of Conservation, I see Uncle Graham Atkins over there. Women's Native Tree, they have nursery in Gisborne. Manuka Honey Company in the East Cape, Te Araro. And also forgot about GDC, but yeah, they're involved in Te Aki Te Tai Hoki. I can skip that, I already talked about. Yep, skip. Here are some of ngā āhuatanga o Rotoria. Here are some of what Rotoria looks like now. Ko te here, what we want, my dream, is to Rotoria looks like, so we can have heaps of rākau Māori around, kia pai te aho te taiao, and not just to make the tile look pretty, but also to encourage the community in protecting the tile, so encouraging their mātauranga, their knowledge in our rākau Māori. So yeah, there's a lot of damage going on right now. There's erosion, Kuka Auntie Tui talked about that. Aihu whenua, farming, agriculture, and you can see that's Rotoria Pie Shop over there, and behind there is pine trees, ain't rākau Māori. Willows, those ain't rākau Māori. So, ko te whāinga, kia whakakore i aua rākau, and to grow our own rākau Māori. Kia toitu hoki te whenua. Here are some of the rarus that are making all this raru I Ngaia nei tonu. You can see the pests are hurting the manu, the native birds, like kiruru. The kiruru are a big involved with the rākau Māori, which the kiruru bird eats the seeds, like karaka seed, and ka rere ate and ka tuku para, and mā te tuku para e te pai te rākau Māori. So the kiruru helps the trees grow by eating the seeds and me te teko. So yeah, there's a lot of damage. There was someone talking about myrtle rust. Myrtle rust was flew I forgot when, but myrtle rust eventually came from South America and is killing off all the type of myrtles, so such as purukawa, manuka, kānika, all the trees that have little seeds in them. Yeah, at the beginning of the year, I went to go help Uncle Graham Atkins pick some of the seeds to bank them away from the myrtle rust. Yeah, so there's a lot of things killing off our rākau Māori, and hopefully we can fix it. So I talked about how the kiruru is involved with the rākau Māori. And ngā here, kia pērā te āhua, so our tile would look like that in the future, hopefully. And yeah, that's basically what that says. And when I was talking about the results from our survey that we did, this was the survey we did with our school. And kāre here, there was about 18% of them that didn't even want to do the survey. And about 30% of them that knew some of the rākau Māori. So the survey was just pictures, and they have to identify what rākau it is, rākau Māori. And about 53% of them had no clue what rākau they were. And that was just our school. Next one. Here are the results of the survey that we did with the iwi. So 60% of them knew. The reason there's a lot that knew, because we had a few rākau that were kōwhai, which most people know, and mānuka. So most of them knew those trees, but the rest they did not know. Yeah, that's 40% of them. Yeah, I forgot to put the pictures up of the rākau, but yeah, next. Yeah, so if you can see that, there was only 3 of them that knew remu, 5 of them that only knew ramarama, 7 tōtara, and there was a lot that knew the mānuka, of course, because it's all around the place, and kānuka, and pūrere, tawa, kōwhai, and poetukawa. So with this you can see which rākau are not like that most people don't know about. So that was with the iwi and that was with our school. Yeah. This is just talking about our solutions, or what solutions we can have to kia toitu ai ngā rākau Māori me te whenua hoki. One of my solutions that I came up with was encourage people in like making jobs out of whakatipu rākau Māori, like the mānuka industry, with making rongoa Māori from the mānuka and kānuka. So hopefully we can encourage people in doing that. You can skip that. So this is about the 1080 poison. Painga, the positive about it, and kore painga is the negative about it. Positive things about it, most people don't agree on it, is that it's the best solution at the moment to stopping pests. And the bad solution about it, it's because it's just poison, and poison ain't good. And yeah, we didn't really get involved with the 1080 because at the moment there's still a huge argument in between it. So yeah, I don't want to get involved with the 1080. So that ain't a good solution. Yeah, so that's the 1080. And patu tarutari, that's just killing off all the weeds, like such as blackberry, what Thing talked about, and all the gorse, honeysuckle, privet, and yeah, at the moment it's quite a biggie to be involved with, because if you like cut down, for example, if you cut down all the weeds of one side of the town, in 2 years' time the other side will be growing. So yeah, it's a big job to do that, so we didn't get involved with that. Yeah. And whawhai te myrtle rust is just fighting the myrtle rust. The positive about that is that we can help our rākau Māori from dying from the myrtle rust. And the kore painga about it, it's just too much work, and it's time consuming because there's only once a year, or one season of the year, that you can pick the seeds. And yeah, so we didn't really get involved with that. Alright, next one please. Yeah. So here's a map of New Zealand. All the places that have been hit from Murderous are all the stars, the red stars, and all the places with grey dots are the only places that they can survey, and that just makes it that you can't see the rest of the place wherever it's been hit, so we're not sure if it's been hit in the clear areas. Yeah, so the Murderous is quite a biggie, but we don't have a solution at the moment. So, alright, next one please. Tipu ngā rea hei koha. So at the beginning I talked about growing native trees with Kerry Hunson, GDC. The positive about that is that we can make our tile look more prettier, and we can get our hapuri involved, our iwi involved. Yeah, so this is the solution we came up with, is to grow our rako Māori, and in 3 years' time we'll sell them back to GDC and get our hapuri involved. So yeah, that's our rautaki kia toitu ai. Ngā rako Māori kia toitu ai hoki te whenua. Yeah.
Tēnā koe te rākau nui. O tērā, we've just come up to time now for our morning tea, but I just wanted to just take a moment to reflect on, just also how fantastic and advanced and sophisticated and onto it some of these reflections have been from our rangatahi, and the resounding message around rākau Māori, around our native trees, our native forest cover, the benefits that flow from that, and the future pathways from that, economic pathways, education pathways. Really interesting to see that research that Rākau Nui and his and the kura have carried out, because it's around knowing your rākau Māori and planting your rākau Māori, fostering your rākau Māori, valuing them, and creating benefits, broad benefits for our community out of those pathways. So, homaia no he pakipaki, no rākau.
My name is Murray Waitoa. I'm from Tiki Tiki, whānau Putanga. 1968 and 72, I was a student here. Now, listening to what you were talking about, your dreams and aspirations, the dreams and aspirations our old people had in those times was for us to go out and become educated, to understand all of the issues we're talking about now. It's good to see it's starting to turn around. So what I went out and got was a technology, learning those things, without forgetting that part of my education growing up with our people was being in the bush, eating the kai, knowing all about the mara. So it is now time to rejuvenate that, and you're doing it. One of the big issues we've always had was that our people are good, we know what we're doing, but for some reason we are leaving our whenua. And the generation, the intergenerational connection has been lost. So what has happened? The land's been left dormant. And it's only until now the innovations, the knowledge, the technology is starting to come back, where I believe our people will be able to stay on the whenua and remain there, looking after it the way it should be. Time for that change? Yes. Time to make the other organisations accountable? Yes. For as long as I know, our whenua has been used and abused. We've never gained the independence from all the activities that have happened on it. The vineyards, the pine trees, this, the that. You can make that change happen for us. Ka pai. Keep the good work up. Thank you very much.
Okay. We'll just leave this up, and then we do have to break for morning tea. And so if anybody has further questions, please do ask them for morning tea. Did you have something that... Rākaunui is going to introduce the slide, and then of course if you have further questions about it, again, feel free to come up and have a kōrero with him around it. Did you want to? Yeah, go on then, come on.
Sorry, I'm not finishing my slides. This is my second one. Yeah, hopefully I'll go quick. So this one's about ocean pollution. There I talked about land pollution, now it's about sea pollution. Like this. Okay. So this one's in English, so hopefully you can read it. Be more aware of what our people are doing. So at the moment, here on the coast, our rubbish dump, landfill is way too close to the river. So it's a matter of time that the rubbish, the waste in the landfill would end up in the river and out into the ocean. Right. Solution for that is to get crafty and and come up with some cool ideas to turn our plastic waste into something else, and hopefully we can move the landfill more into land. Not just the rubbish dump, but the landfill. Yeah. Right. Manufacture, so obviously manufacture was the cause to this problem. You can say the older generation made a mess for us younger people to clean up. Solution number 2 is to reuse, recycle your plastic items. Instead, you can use reusables. I came up with a solution as to, for example, if a plastic bag was 5 cents and a reusable bag would be 50 cents, you can reduce the amount of 25 plastic bags for the one reusable. So hopefully we can get that to be done at the Foursquare. Microplastic. So if you don't know what microplastic is that when the big piece of plastic is out into the vast ocean, it then forms down into tiny, deadly to marine life microplastics, and that is harming most marine life, such as fish, whales, turtles, and sea urchin canoes, and yeah. Right. Solution number 3, parakore, ko ka tina is a part of that. So yeah, encourage your marae or hapori into getting into protecting our taiao, and that's what parakore is all about, eh? And just encouraging your maraes into protecting our taiao. Parakore, if we can use it on the ocean, such as a wakahaurua. I was a part of a wakahaurua at the beginning of, at the end of 2016. A wakahaurua is basically a marae on the ocean that sails around, and if we can get parakore on there, we can trawl for plastic. So trawling is netting for plastic, and I think they've already started with one of the wakas down Wellington, and that's one of the solutions for that. Next. And my final solution, we know that the fish are eating the plastic, so if we can turn the plastic into some particular colour, maybe when the plastic breaks down, the fish won't eat it. So like, if the plastic was red, that I think fish won't eat. The fish won't eat. Kia ora.